Good afternoon, soccer fans. Welcome into a special edition here of Between the Posts, as I'm always joined by Matt. But we're not talking Premier League today. Match day number 2 in the Champions League as that competition resumes this week. So we'll preview Tuesday and Wednesday matches here on this show. Looking forward to talking some Champions League football with you, Matt.
Yeah, always. Champions League is, kind of the pinnacle of club football, and it's always great to go through these games and break them down and see kind of where who's going to grab the 3 points and what kind of matches we're going to have here.
Yeah, just looking at the fixtures, there's certainly some good ones to sit back and enjoy. We'll just take them in order as they come. So let's jump on into it. Before I do that, I want to mention to you guys, I've got that comment section up. I want to know how you guys are betting match day number 2. So I'm sure you guys have more than one bet. Maybe let me know what your best bet is. And then also kind of let me know what you're thinking across the entire match day number 2. Taking them in order, the first one to go ahead and take is Salzburg at home against Real Sociedad. We, of course, bet Salzburg's first match of over 2.5 goals and both teams to score against Benfica. We were done in a little bit tough right there. Benfica certainly earned more than a goal through their XG. Even down a man, they earned more of a goal. And Salzburg, you kind of know what you're going to get with them. Look at their last 6 fixtures. Their games are averaging 4 goals per match in their last 6 fixtures. I'm just going to go back to the same bet, but this time leave off both teams to score because you can get over 2.5 at plus 108. Both of these teams come in with great confidence. Sociedad with a 3-0 win over the weekend. I like goals in this fixture. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think that you're onto something here. I mean, it looks, like a goal-heavy game. Salzburg, we know. I mean, they generally play that kind of up-tempo style. Nice win, by the way, too, by Salzburg. To get all 3 points on the road at Benfica, which we know is always one of the tougher places to go in Europe. I mean, that was really impressive from them. Mm-hmm. And Sociedad, impressive as well. I mean, drawing with Inter, who's the best team in this group. Very, very solid from them. And, yeah, I think that both these teams kind of, when you look at the data and the stats and stuff like that, I mean, it does tend to lend itself to being kind of a more goal-heavy game. I mean, these two teams did meet many years ago, 6 years ago, but I think that the identities of these clubs are still the same. That was a 2-1 and a 2-2 in the Europa League, and that's what I think here. I think that this is kind of like a 2-1, and I'm not sure which side will be victorious, but I think we're onto something with an over 2.5 at plus money.
Yeah, I was surprised to see this in a Benfica game, in a Salzburg game, to get the over 2.5 and plus money. That's probably just because you're getting hooked up here with the Spanish side on the road as opposed to Real Sociedad at home. But with the way Salzburg plays, with their style of football, I'll take that over 2.5 at plus money. I can't stay away from that at plus money. So sign me up for that one. Let's go ahead and do Union Berlin here with Braga. This one to me, don't have a great read on this one, Matt. Obviously, Braga from the Portuguese league and Union Berlin, obviously from the Bundesliga league. I would tip to the home side here. They're in the more established lead. Actually, if you look at the Bundesliga overall, their games are averaging more goals per matches of all the top 5 leagues in Europe. So it makes me think it could be goal heavy, but not really confident enough to maybe bet it. What about for you?
Well, I mean, if you just look at the home side's form here, they've lost 5 consecutive matches. 3-0 at home. They lost to Leipzig. They were pretty competitive, though, you could say, against Real Madrid. They held them for a long time. Jude Bellingham, that goal in like the 5th minute. Look at them, though. It's just they lose to Heidenheim at the weekend, 1-0. They have been blanked in 3 straight. Braga, I think that, they lost to Napoli, which is pretty fine. I mean, because that's probably Napoli's the second strongest team in this group. It should be Real Madrid and Napoli that get out of here. But, look too, Jason. You were seeing, Union Berlin are struggling to score. And then you look at the 2 head-to-heads from last season. These 2 teams did play in the Europa League, and they were 1-0 to both home sides. So Union, this isn't anything unfamiliar for these Braga players. They came here last season. They lost 1-0. But then on the flip side, Braga got the better of them at home, 1-0. So with the way I wouldn't be backing Union Berlin here. I think that they're in kind of a weird place. I would be looking towards probably a double chance towards Braga if I had to play this one. But I also look at, an unders or both teams to score no. I mean, Union Berlin are really, really struggling in front of net right now. So let's see what we have on an under 2.5. We've got minus 120. That's where I would be looking in this match. Just kind of backing the trends here. I don't think, I get that these two teams are in different leagues. The Portuguese league is pretty strong, though. It's not that far off from the Bundesliga. So, maybe you could pick on Union Berlin here. They're in a really, really poor form coming into this one.
The reason that would give me pause picking on Union Berlin is when they went up against Real Madrid, that was their first ever Champions League game. Now they're getting their first ever Champions League game at home. I think they're going to be really energized by that home crowd. The Bundesliga grounds are some of the most electric atmospheres, in all of the top leagues. You love the Bundesliga grounds. And then secondly, you mentioned the game against Real Madrid. There were a couple header chances in the first 10 minutes there from Joselu. But other than that, while Real Madrid controlled the game, they had the chances, they weren't great chances outside of that opening 10 minutes. And then you mentioned Bellingham saving them at the death pretty much. So I thought Union Berlin performed really stinking well at the Bernabeu. I kind of like Union Berlin. I think with how they performed against Real Madrid, getting this first ever Champions League game at home, I kind of like Union Berlin here. You mentioned their head-to-head last season, and both teams have scored no is a great angle. Look for Union Berlin to get that 1-0 win here at home to kind of mimic what happened last year. I like it.
Yeah, this is a tough one. You have to say. I mean, because betting on Union Berlin at minus 105 when they haven't won in 5 straight, we'll see. But all of they haven't scored. But then Braga, they put up 4 at the weekend, 4 in the previous match. They did score against Napoli. They've scored, and they continue to score. So this is just really a clear-cut pass in my mind.
And this could be this could be really showing that they don't have the squad depth, right? Never in Champions League, and here they are competing. We don't know what they did with their summer transfer window, but it does look like it's putting a hurt on their form. So, all right, let's move over here to the third fixture here in match day number 2. We got Copenhagen here. At home against Bayern Munich. We know from the last fixture and previewing them with Real Madrid, Bayern Munich has now gone 35 straight group stage games without losing. That's talking 6 years in the group stage of picking up a win. That is actually going to be 3 draws and 32 wins. It's obviously going to be really hard here not to like Bayern. The thing that I kind of like here in this game is we know how Bayern comes out early in games and likes to really establish themselves and get the early lead. So I would kind of look at a Bayern halftime, full time, but it's a touch too juicy. And then if you add on over 1.5 goals, you can get that at minus 130. If you want to go over 2.5 goals, you can get it at plus money. But I'm kind of comfortable with that minus 130 price. Bayern full time or halftime, full time, and over 1.5 goals at minus 130 starts to get me interested. Obviously, Bayern's far superior here than anything Copenhagen's been able to do. I mean, they lose at home against the weekend 3-0 against Midtjylland. Bayern battles back against Leipzig 2-2 in the second half. And to me, it's Bayern. I'm sure you're on Bayern, but is there a way to play it? Because Bayern's like City. Everything's juicy. So how do you get in on a Bayern match? How are you going to get in, Matt?
I don't really want to be with Bayern right now. I've seen their form. I mean, they go down 2-0 at halftime against Leipzig. They weren't impressive. They really haven't been impressive in my mind. I mean, let's see.
I thought they were impressive against United. Just the late goals made that look like a close match. But having watched that whole thing, I thought they were in full control against United.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they have been more impressive than I would say. I mean, yeah, they've beaten up on some of the bad teams. Yeah, they did concede to United.
If you think they're going to concede to Copenhagen, then I think you do my parlay with over 2.5 at plus money. But if you're worried, because this is a Bayern team that gets a lot of clean sheets, and I read the stat, Bayern, 6 of Bayern's last 8 away games in the Champions League have been via the clean sheet. So if you think they can keep that and make it 7 of 9, then I think you do it over 1.5 with Bayern with the classic just 2-0 win on the road in Champions League. But if you think Copenhagen do it, then yeah, go for the plus money price.
Yeah, I kind of like both teams to score here.
Okay.
Just a touch, just because, yeah, you can find that at plus 100. I mean, look at Copenhagen. I know we don't know where their heads were, I guess, but we know that Midtjylland is like one of, they're like the best or one of the best clubs in Denmark, right? And so, I mean, but then look at the other matches. They put up 9 against a team. They put up 3, 2, 2. I mean, they put up 2, on the road at Galatasaray. I mean, that's not an easy place to go, and here they are at home. And Bayern, for Bayern, they are great at scoring goals. I still question their defense. I think that's ultimately what will not win them this competition. I think that their defense over the past 2 or 3 seasons just hasn't been up to snuff when you look at the Cities and the Reals and those kind of teams. Yeah, give me both teams to score here at plus 100.
Actually, pre this tournament, I actually gave out Bayern to win the whole thing. You mentioned some of their defense weaknesses, but as this tournament progresses with Thomas Tuchel, we remember him at Chelsea, the under 2.5 cash cow. He'll fix that, and he'll know which matches to emphasize defense. Obviously, on the road, you do want to emphasize defense a little bit. And Neuer should come back at some point during this competition. So you like both teams to score? That's at plus money?
I do. It's at plus 100. I think that Copenhagen can do something here.
Do you think that do you have an issue with the Bayern halftime, full time?
I wouldn't be on that just because it's kind of juicy, I think.
It is, yeah. That leg alone is minus 167. Minus 167 alone for that.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah, I would pass. I don't know. I don't know why I don't really want to be with Bayern on this one, but I just am not feeling it for some reason.
Okay, that's great. All right, let's go over to Milan now. We have Inter Milan taking on Benfica, an Inter Milan team that drew 1-1 against Sociedad. Really had some poor XG numbers, but they're at home. You certainly figure they're going to be better. They're coming off a nice win over the weekend, 4-0 on the road. Benfica, again, we bet that match against Salzburg, thought we were done in tough. I expect Benfica to have another good XG number and create chances. This one, to me, looks like an over 2.5 and probably wouldn't add on the both teams to score just because you can get the over 2.5 at minus 115. But I'm expecting both teams to contribute. Maybe a slight edge to Inter just because they're at home, but I just want goals, and I think that's what you're going to get from these two sides.
Yeah, my bet here is going to be Lisandro Martinez to score anytime. He started on the bench at the weekend. It was 0-0 at halftime. He comes on because he was being rested for this match, and he scores 4 goals, Jason. I mean, Lisandro Martinez right now, I know that he did us kind of dirty in the World Cup, but at some point in time, I mean, this guy's on fire right now. Lisandro Martinez is clicking. Maybe he wasn't clicking in Qatar, but he's clicking now. And I like that price at plus 135. You might even be able to find a little bit better, more than the Inter Milan money line price. I think that Lisandro Martinez bags one here. That's where I would be going.
So then, are you willing? Because I always think of games in which you see unders, you're not going to do an anytime goal scorer. Because then, so you must be liking the over then as well. Then an over 2.5 if you're willing to take an anytime goal scorer stab.
Yeah, I think that this game has, Benfica will play. Benfica wants to play.
Oh yeah.
That's what they like. I mean, they don't care really who you are. They've got good passers and good dribblers, and they always want to play football, which is good. And I think that will then kind of lead Inter into wanting to play as well. And I really do think that Inter's manager is one of the best. I'd be leaning Inter here for sure. I think Inter at home. I mean, Benfica. They just lost in their first match. Kind of got upset.
Yeah, that was they played a lot of that with 10 men though, and they still had great XGs. Sure. They still created a ton. Remember, these two teams did hook up last year in the knockout phases, and in Inter it was a 3-3 game. I remember Benfica last year in the group stage with Juventus. I remember betting over 2.5. I think I lost, but another match in which Benfica was right there on the road at Juventus, and you deserve to cash the way Benfica performed on the road in that fixture. So I'm going right back to it. Over 2.5, minus 115. You like goals. You like Martinez to find the back of the net. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember watching that 3 last year. That was a good match.
That was classic. And the other one was 2-0, so maybe you didn't cash the other leg, but again, another one that was right there on the door. So at minus 115, yeah, it's an over for me. Guys, don't forget that comment section is up. Want to hear from you guys. Want to know what some of your best bets are as we roll through these games. Let us know how you're betting match day number 2 in the Champions League. Over to France now. Lens is welcoming Arsenal into town. Arsenal coming off the big win this weekend against Bournemouth. I will tell you, though, Arsenal's up 3-0 in I don't quite call it what minute Havertz slotted it. But Saka comes into that game with an injury doubt, and he leaves him on well past the 70th minute just to pick up another knock and then have to be subbed off because of that knock he picked up. That is going to cost Arsenal from going deep. You don't have a guy that's injured and leaving him on in a game in which 3-0 at Bournemouth, and Bournemouth is not doing a damn thing to threaten your goal. You got to get Saka off of there. That just shows me he's going to be punished. Use your squad. Use the depth. Use all your summer signings that you did. I, of course, still like Arsenal on the road here because they're a superior team, but I wouldn't trust Arsenal very far in this competition if Arteta is going to be managing that way. Relying too much on the big dogs in situations in which you don't have to. So I need to look over this one to find the odds that'll make me work. But what about for you here with Arsenal on the road against Lens?
This is under, and under, I think. This Lens defense is really good. It's really good. I mean, they did concede against Sevilla. That was a really impressive road draw, I think. Sevilla's never an easy place to go.
Yeah.
Lens, they were kind of carved up, I guess you could say, by PSG and Monaco. They did allow 3 goals in those, but they've gotten it a little bit better since then. I mean, they kept a clean sheet at the weekend. I just know that like this team last year was very solid in defense. I think that we can definitely see Arsenal being solid in defense here too. And with no Saka, if Saka misses this, I think that would be really nice to maybe potentially have an under spot here, like under 2.5 plus 100. I just think this game's going to be really tight. So that's where I'd be looking, but I would wait until lineups on this one to bet it. I don't think the line's going to move all that much.
I remember that Arsenal against PSV, one of those grounds were rocking for their return to Champions League. They're going to have a great traveling away supporters in this one. You like an under. I get a little nervous. They just create a touch too much for my liking, but maybe they don't create a lot this night in France. Obviously, you mentioned their 1-1 game against Sevilla. An unders in an Arsenal match. I like it. That's ballsy, and I like it because it is ballsy. I like it. Yeah, to me, Saka is a difference. I can't believe he left him on against Bournemouth up 3-0. And then Trossard, though, it looks like he's off the injury report. So, yeah, there is a drop-off, and Saka plays on the right, and Trossard certainly on the left. But, man, I like Trossard if now he can come back into this game and give them some quality minutes. All right, you like under. I have to think about that one. All right, what about Manchester United up against Galatasaray? They're from the Turkish League. United loses on the weekend against Crystal Palace. I watched that classic, you dominate a team midweek in the cup. You see them again, in your next match, and the match is completely flipped. United couldn't do a damn thing in that match against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace getting the 1-0 win. Makes me want to take a stab at an under here because United, we said it against one of their other opponents. It was against, Burnley, who they played before Palace. They're just not creating, and the chances that they're creating aren't even really all that threatening. I love the plus 150 price here of an under 2.5. How are you thinking here between United and Galatasaray?
Well, I feel like Galatasaray is just they're like it's this lineup of like misfit Premier League players. Really just like honestly misfit players from really strong leagues. I mean, I can go through and I know more than half of their starting lineup. I mean, you look at Dries Mertens, Icardi, Torreira from the old Arsenal, Demirbay used to play for Hoffenheim and Leverkusen and Ziyech and Zaha and Angelino on City for a little bit and Leipzig. I mean, they've been able to kind of scrap together a decent amount of quality players. Now, can they put it all on the pitch and have it work? They've only probably all been together for about a month. It's a lot of new faces in new places, but I think that they have what it takes to at least score here at Old Trafford.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they score. So I guess that kind of just makes me think, what do you think here, Jason, in terms of like the flow of this game and how you think it'll go? I think that United should end up being too strong here. But how do you play it when they're minus 230?
I'm probably going to take a stab at the under at plus 150. I just United's chances aren't creating. They're not threatening enough for my liking. It's not a game in which you're like, wow, they just missed the over, but damn, they were all over like a City or an Arsenal or one of the other top clubs in the Premier League. I'd much rather back one of those sides for goals. It's not inspiring right now. They only get stronger, playing Amrabat in the left-hand side because he doesn't get forward like a Reguilon. He doesn't have that pace, so that only weakens their attack as long as they're going to throw Amrabat in as a left fullback. It just makes me like the under. And they're going to do, a Casemiro, and I bet McTominay comes in because he probably is worried about some of those Galatasaray players. You mentioned Zaha and Encarde. I mean, legit goal scorers on that side. Probably going to get McTominay next to Casemiro.
Wow.
Under.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they've got this total really high, though. I mean, it's at 3. It's at 3, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I'm
Yeah,
seeing?
if you look
3.
at, you got to hit the bar to come down to 2.5. So yeah, they've got the number at 3.5 for sure.
So I guess my thing is Crystal Palace's defense we know is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not easy. Palace packing it in after scoring a goal. It was a really nice strike by Anderson.
Beautiful off that corner.
We know that Roy Hodgson just knows what to do, but this is, that Crystal Palace team has a ton of continuity. This Galatasaray, that Crystal Palace team is better than this Galatasaray side, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not too far off, but this Galatasaray side just has so many flashy names, but can they really come together here? This is a tough one.
I know well before I bet Man United money line at minus 225, I would go for the plus 180 price of Galatasaray on the double chance at plus 180. Well before I'm trying to finagle United and under 4.5 or United and over 1.5. I don't want any of that crap. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bet the other side on the double chance of plus 180 first.
I think it's a both teams to score and United to win. I think it's a 2-1 to United. I don't know. I'll wait for lineups here and see, but I can see a lot of different things. I think that Galatasaray have enough in them to score, but I think that United at Old Trafford, they'll wake up here. I think that they'll get their act together, and I think that they'll win this match.
Ten Hag has already done his press conference. I have already watched it. Nobody's coming back other than Anthony. He's in consideration after his, not a suspension, whatever the hell you call it. But otherwise, nobody else was in contention to coming back, according to his press conference. Anthony doesn't move the needle for me on an over. All he does is move the needle for me on an under. So, yeah. Okay. You like maybe both teams will score and a United pulling out the victory. Interesting. All right. What about Napoli and Real Madrid? This is obviously, when you look at the fixtures here on the Tuesday match, this one gets the cake. It's certainly at least the two biggest clubs. Whenever I look at a fixture and it's Napoli, Real Madrid, or whatever the two clubs are, this should be goals. It makes me want to go right back to an under. And this one, you saw Real Madrid. It's Champions League. It's the classic. They scrape out a 1-0, 2-0 win. I know it's at Napoli. So maybe you could go for both teams to score and a 1-1 draw. I could see that. I could see a 1-1 draw here easily. I also kind of like the under.
I like the under. I've seen Liverpool go to Napoli too many times now. It's been 4 times probably in the last, or I guess twice or 3 times in the last few seasons. It's a tough place to go play. This Napoli side is good. They are good, and Real Madrid, as we know, they're good too, but they've got some problems now. They don't have that firepower, I think, up front. So I agree with you in terms of an underplay. Let's see where we have these lines at. So, yeah, it's basically pick 'em. I agree with that. I would slightly lean Napoli here at home.
They got more
Um,
firepower for sure on the offensive side, I think. I mean,
I
you look at Real. It's like Bellingham saving them every weekend. It feels like, you know what I mean?
hmm for
That's
sure.
not
Yeah, you got
sustainable.
under 2.5 here at plus 115. Yeah, that's interesting. This is a
Yeah,
tough match. I don't know. I would have like again a lot of these ones I want to see lineups. Just kind of the way it is, especially midweek. Um, there's always a little touch of rotation uh, generally. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what kind of Real Madrid have up top here and see if they can create because you know they're missing Benzema a lot. I think right now.
right, for sure. I know that draw at plus 260. I have a hard time deciding maybe which team is better. I trust Ancelotti here in a big Champions League. Obviously, all the trophies he's won in this competition, and then the team as well. Draw at plus 260 gets me excited. Starts to get me
Yeah,
excited. PSV and Sevilla right here. The next one here on match day number 2. This one, I didn't have a good feel for it. Really kind of either way. The one thing maybe you could think of is fireworks here. PSV's games, last 12 competitive matches, has seen 21 goals in that first half for an average of 1.75. Sevilla usually doesn't contribute a lot to the scoring line. They're kind of an under machine. But if you like PSV, maybe you take a stab at them at the first half. Maybe you can go first half money line. They're at home. They're going to have obviously the grounds and the supporters. I would look at maybe a first half money line for PSV.
yeah. This one is pretty amazing. I'm surprised that PSV are minus money. I mean, just look how they stepped up in class. I know Arsenal are a lot better than Sevilla, but I mean they got crushed.
They
You
got
know,
crushed.
4-0.
They did nothing. My both teams a score bet was done at halftime. They were doing nothing at the Emirates.
Yeah, I think like Sevilla generally for me, like whenever I normally bet them, it is in European competition, and they generally step up a little bit. They do have goal scorers. I mean, El Nasri
Mm-hmm.
is a really good striker. Um, and whenever I bet PSV games, I mean PSV generally um, are a very goal heavy team. I mean, they generally score a lot. That's kind of the Dutch league as a whole. Um, what do we have on a price here of both teams to score?
What teams to score? Let's get it.
hmm Let's see
We
here.
got minus 139.
Yeah, minus 139 on both teams to score. I think that that's the right play in this one. I think that that's shaded correctly. I believe that Sevilla can step up and score a goal on the road. Um, and I trust PSV. I think this is both teams to score. Yes, this might be one of the better looks on the card.
You know what? PSV at home, you have to go back to January 21st was the last time they didn't score 2 goals at home in any competition. You got to go back to January 21st. You can get there over 1.5 goals at even money. Maybe if you obviously then like Sevilla to score, you can do a both teams to score and over 2.5. That certainly comes in at plus money at around plus 115. Maybe Sevilla at home, goal machine. Hey, look at that. They got to go all the way back to the 21st of January.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those weird ones where like Sevilla aren't like this really goal heavy team, but like I trust them like still kind of being the better side, like a bigger, Spain La Liga still bigger than the Eredivisie, and Arsenal put up 4 on this team. Like why can't Sevilla score 1? And I trust PSV to score. So that's kind of where I'm at here.
And then obviously they shut down Barcelona, right? They lose, but that's because Sergio Ramos got himself a goal. You know,
hmm
they did really well against
Yeah,
Barcelona over the weekend.
anytime goal scorer,
What's that?
anytime goal scorer, Sergio Ramos.
Do you get credit for that of an OG if you're on
No,
ATG? You don't get credit for that.
wouldn't that would be a dream.
That'd be one way to cash a bet. That'd be a memorable one. All right, so those are Tuesday matches there in the Champions League on match day number 2. Let's head on over to Wednesday's fixtures. And the first one I don't really have an opinion on. It's 2 clubs I don't bet, and it's 2 leagues I don't watch. Antwerp versus Shakhtar. You got anything, Matt?
No, I'm not. I'm not even going to pretend. Um, I mean, let's just kind of look and see what happened. I mean, look at Antwerp. The last 3 games for them in the league, 0-0.
0-0.
Dusted 5-0 to Barca. And then we look at Shakhtar, who have been, the brighter team, over the years. What do we have on a price in this one?
Definitely the best team in the Ukrainian league.
Like the facts, the fact, for example, that Antwerp is minus 125 here is like, what?
Yeah.
Like I could only look towards the class that's, that has been over the years in Shakhtar and take Shakhtar here on the double chance.
I was going to say, what's that price? That's plus money.
I know. That's interesting. What have Antwerp done?
Their last 3 games, all of them are 0-0. That's funny.
I mean, that's a real problem, and then they step up in class. There's no shame in getting beat 5-0 to Barca, but wow. I don't know. I would be looking towards Shakhtar, I think, here. What did Shakhtar do in match day 1? They scored at least against, Porto's pretty good, so.
Antwerp's played 4 fixtures this season at home, and they haven't conceded at home all year. That's probably why the books are thinking that they can do it, I guess.
I know. That's one where I just don't know enough. So maybe somebody really does think, wow, this minus 125 is value. But I don't know enough to say that it is or not. So pass.
You got to go back to Shakhtar hasn't suffered a loss on the road this entire campaign in any competition. On the road, they've not suffered a loss. Now, they've got some draws in there, but that's perfectly fine for a double chance. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, what about under?
Over, under. Just kind of a mix. Under, over. Too much of a mix for me.
I'm saying like under 2.5 in this match is plus price.
I think I'd rather go for a bet that has, at least on probabilities, like a match or a draw. I think that Shakhtar is the way to maybe go. I'm going to bet all this stuff. What's my best bet in all 16 games? Just going to fire out 16 bets.
Yeah, no, 32 bets. Like, I think that I would be surprised here if you go under 2.5 and you go Shakhtar double chance. I would be surprised if you lost both.
I mean, Antwerp's always in like Europa League at best, and Shakhtar's always in the Champions League. Now, they may fall down to Europa League, but they always start off in Champions League. This is a step up in class for them. I like it. Double chance, plus 108. I'm going to give out some bets on the show, but make sure you join the daily show in the morning because there's going to be some more that get fired out. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. This is a weird one.
All right, what about a hot Atletico Madrid team coming in, at home against Feyenoord? Atletico Madrid, very fine form, 3 straight wins, get a draw last time out in the Champions League up against Lazio. Meanwhile, Feyenoord gets a 2-0 win last time out in the Champions League up against Celtic. They're also to be quite fair, they're in fine form themselves. Different caliber of leagues, obviously.
I know. This is one of those where I always gravitate towards Atleti.
Yeah.
These two teams did play not that long ago. Feyenoord won 2-1.
That was a friendly, though. Don't put too much stock in that. That was a friendly. I'm going to look at what their XG numbers are. Not much. Celtic.
This is a no bet.
No bet. I just said we're betting every game, not a no bet. I just said we're betting 16 games, 16 bets.
This is a no bet because I've been suckered into Atleti before at like this minus 140, minus 160 price. I love Atleti. I think that they're so good, but then they have these random days where they don't turn up. Feyenoord is a decent side. They can score goals. I don't know on this one. I know that Griezmann's in fine form.
Remember they did beat Ajax. Remember there was that suspended game? It was like 3-0. I don't know what it finished up. But they beat Ajax. I can't imagine they lost that game being up 3-0 late in the second half.
Yeah, Griezmann or Morata. I mean, those two guys check the lineups.
I'm not betting on Morata. He will miss every chance when I bet his ass. Everything will get missed. The sitter, no keeper in sight. He's already been dusted, and he'll miss it.
No, he bagged a brace though against Real Madrid. I think that Griezmann had the third.
Yeah, so, they're in fine form. All right, let's move on here to the 2 p.m. match window here. Celtic take it on Lazio. Lazio's on the road here, so this match is at Celtic. Celtic had a terrible XG against Feyenoord. It was .29. They didn't do a damn thing on the road. Will they be better at home? Sure. But will that can translate to goals? Like if it's against a tough Serie A team that is generally a low-scoring league. And Lazio, outside of Ciro Immobile, they don't really do enough to get me excited outside of Immobile. I'd probably do an unders here. In Celtic versus Lazio. Let's see what that price is.
Yeah. They met in 2019 in the Europa League, and both games had both teams to score and over 2.5 come in.
Oh, there you go.
Celtic won both of those. That's very interesting.
2-2-1.
Yeah, this is tough. Lazio are in kind of weird form right now. 15th place in Serie A. I mean, what are they going to start prioritizing? Celtic under Brendan Rodgers now will be competitive. They've got a couple really solid players.
They do a damn thing at Feyenoord. Not a damn thing.
They didn't? Yeah. But this is Celtic Park.
Oh,
this is
Park.
this is where they come alive. So Lazio is here. We have over under 2.5 minus
plus money for the under.
I think the shading's right. I think the game goes over the number. I think minus 125 is correct.
That's what it is, but minus 125. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For little overs. All right. Let's do it. Here we got Young Boys against Red Star. This one gets me excited because I'm smelling a over 2.5 here in this one. Young Boys was able to score against Leipzig. They're on match day number 1. Red Star even gets a goal on the road at Man City. Kind of came out of nothing just before the stroke of halftime, but give them credit. They finished one of their near only chances that they had in their game. I like goals in this one. Young Boys will be able to do enough here on the road. They're contributing. If you want to add on to both teams to score, go for it. I like goals over 2.5 for me.
Yeah. 0-0 against Maccabi in their first one. Yeah. Red Star were impressive against City. I don't know I don't even know what to say on this one. This is really tough.
Over 2.5 is hitting every Red Star game this season except for one. Over 2.5 is hitting every single game except for one. It's an overs game.
Well, at least it's at Red Star, and we don't have to watch this on like turf. Do Young Boys still play on turf? They probably do. They're like the only club. Like when you watch the Champions League, there's one club that has turf.
I didn't watch them play against Leipzig. I was just following that game. I was on a team total that day for Leipzig, and they got that pretty easily, getting 3 goals. Came in the second half, but they still got it. Yeah, this one's a goals one for me, though. It's just a matter of do I tack on to both teams to score? Probably not. Probably just feel comfortable enough just doing over 2.5, even though both do contribute, likely. But probably just do that.
I like it.
All right. Here's a good one here, finally, on the Wednesday fixture. There's 2 of them that are really good on Wednesday, and this is one of them. Dortmund at home against AC Milan. Dortmund coming off a couple wins in the Bundesliga, 1-0, 3-1. And then AC Milan rifling off 3 straight wins here in Serie A. They haven't played relatively recent, so to me, kind of irrelevant head-to-heads. I thought Dortmund was kind of poor in their match day number 1 against PSG. They didn't create a lot, only 1 shot on target. They had several shots, but only one of them was on target. Their XG obviously reflects that. And then obviously everybody remembers we took under 2.5 in Milan and Newcastle, and we coasted to a very easy cash when that game finished 0-0. I would go right back to an under 2.5 here with Milan on the road. Dortmund struggling offensively. I like the under 2.5 here between Dortmund and AC Milan.
Wow. Yeah, I like Milan here just because I don't know. This Dortmund team is still like this roster isn't that. It doesn't excite me that much.
Oh, it doesn't.
You got to really pay attention to the injuries though, because I bet AC Milan team total last week against Cagliari, and it cashed. They won.
Nice.
They went down 1-0 and flipped it around before halftime, and it cashed 2-1. They end up going on and winning 3-1. I watched Pulisic. He looked good.
He scored over the
Yeah,
weekend too.
this AC team has got a really nice front three. They've got that Chukwueze from Villarreal for many years, cutting in on his left foot. He is tricky. Pulisic or Rafael Leao on the left.
Leal's so good. Man, he's so good.
He's so good. So good. But I know that they've got some injuries right now in the middle, which is kind of a problem here. So I'll wait on this one. I want to be with Milan. Double chance. This is a hard place to go play, though. Kind of do agree on your unders look as well.
What's the price here? We get Dortmund slightly favored, not all that much. The Milan double chance is minus 175, likely a parlay piece. The under 2.5 has hit in each of Milan's last 7 Champions League games. AC Milan last 7 Champions League games under 2.5 is hitting all of them. They're going to be tough here on the road in terms of they're not going to concede that much. They're not going to concede a whole lot here on the road at Dortmund. That's why I really love the under 2.5. Dortmund not inspiring. I can get on board with your liking AC Milan for more of a result, whether that's a draw or a win, but while the under stays as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and look at FC Porto. Obviously, from the Portuguese league, they're going to be welcoming Barcelona in town. Barcelona, they're obviously in a really good place right now. They need a little help over the weekend against Sevilla, but they get it done. This is a team that you've got to go back to the last match day of last season was the last time this team has suffered defeat. Otherwise, it's wins and draws so far in this campaign and all competition. Xavi probably has Barcelona playing the best that they've looked so far up under Xavi. They don't have injury concerns really other than Frankie de Jong. I expect Barcelona to get probably pick up to 3 points, to be honest, on the road. But I also like Porto to find the back of the net here at home. They're really good here in the Portuguese league. So this to me smells like both teams are scoring over 2.5.
I love it. Yeah, I love both teams score over 2.5 here. I trust this Barcelona attack, but I still don't trust their defense really. And we know that this Porto side, especially here at home, they're good. They're a good side here at home at the Dragao. So, they score goals for fun. They did lose 1-0 at the weekend against Benfica, but that was on the road. They've been scoring goals. I trust them to get back on track here. And this looks like both teams score an over 2.5 spot.
Let me just look up the over 2.5 and see if it's worth putting on the both teams to score or if it's, get good odds and leave it up. Nah, it's minus 143, so tack it on. At minus 143 with Porto definitely contributing. Come along for the ride. All right, what about here at St. James Park? We've got Newcastle welcoming PSG, where both of these teams cashed under 2.5 in match day number 1. That's where I'm going right back. I expect PSG to be really tough here on the road, not be as good. And I love Newcastle's defense. We've talked about it a ton when we do this between the posts when we're previewing Premier League games on a weekly basis. No big surprise that their match in Milan went under 2.5. I'm going right back to it at plus 144, under 2.5 goals.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, PSG, they struggled at the weekend. Their attack didn't get going in a 0-0.
They've been terrible so far in the league.
Yeah, they've been bad, but this front three is nice. I lean PSG here in the draw no bet market. I think that their attack is just so. Once it gets going here with Dembele and Kolo Muani and Mbappe, we've seen Newcastle a couple times not be able to cope with that this season. But yeah, this is a tough match. I could definitely see draw occurring. Could definitely see your unders play. Want to wait for some lineups here, but yeah, I lean PSG a little bit.
Would really like to see Botman come back in. I don't know if he's going to be fit. I think he's still going to be out. But boy, if he's in there next to Scar, I really like it. I really like the under 2.5. Like it either way, but definitely like it if Botman can come back into the side. So. All right, let's go ahead and do the last match day here and then give out some bets here for match day number 2 in the Premier League. It's in Leipzig, where Leipzig is taking on Manchester City. I will tell you, these two teams have hooked up a ton recently in the group stage, and you look at it, it's been like, okay, Leipzig's being able to contribute. Both teams are scoring over 2.5 or certainly over 2.5. City has certainly been the better team in this head-to-head. I thought even though Leipzig has been contributing and watching these games, City has done a good job in controlling the matches. Rodri is going to come back into this one. That's obviously going to be a major lift as he's able to participate in this tournament, even though he's got the red card there and domestically in the league. I think that's just going to really boost this team. They didn't control the match at all against Wolves. I thought they got vastly outplayed by Wolves, and Wolves deserved those 3 points. They were significantly better, I thought, than Man City over the weekend. I like City to batter Leipzig, though. It's kind of what they've been doing. What's the over 2.5? You probably got to go to 3.5 because people probably think Leipzig's going to contribute. But I'm telling you, they've been contributing, but they don't look that great in these games against City. Yeah, you got to go all the way to 3.5. 2.5 is at minus 182. I like City here on the money line, though, at minus 148. Think they continue picking up wins in Champions League.
Yeah, minus 140 at DraftKings right now. I'm going to hit that. Anytime I can get Man City a match like under minus 150, and it's not up against maybe the other top 2 or 3 clubs in the world, like I think it's worthy of a bet. I think that Leipzig, without Dani Olmo too, I don't think that he's going to feature here. He's so key for them. He carved up Bayern earlier in the German Pokal Cup or one of those cups that they played. I think that this is going to be one-way traffic, and I think that Leipzig's in big trouble here. I know that they did well against Bayern, but Bayern is not City. This is a different class here. Give me Bayern or give me Manchester City minus 140 here.
Yeah, you'll see a completely different match in terms of how they control it. They missed Rodri. You got Kovacic and Nunez in there, and it's not as good, obviously, with Rodri. He's one of the better CDMs in all of football, so they'll get back to their winning ways. You like over 2.5, or are you doing the money line, or are you doing over 2.5 with City money line?
Money line.
You like to at minus, what is it? It's like minus 140, you said?
Yep, minus 140 on the money line.
Like it. I tell you, I'm getting. We'll talk about it more in between the posts, but we can also talk about it a little bit here. I'm getting really worried about Haaland. I mean, go through his games this season. He ain't doing shit against any good team. Like, he's picking on Burnley. He's picking on Sheffield. We've kind of talked about it. The good teams have kind of figured out how to frustrate him and how to defend him. Leipzig is, one of the bigger teams in the top 5 leagues. I'm not looking for Haaland. I know he goes back on, familiar grounds here in the Bundesliga, but I'm not really looking for Haaland to, You need the guys around him. Alvarez, obviously, in fantastic form. Alvarez has been the guy this season for City.
Yeah. Well, it's only a matter of time, though. But, it really is. I mean, he's just so good. So I don't understand. It's one of those you can't figure out why it's not working right now.
They can't get service. Against Wolves, Matt, and you tell me if I'm wrong, did he touch the ball in the second half? I don't even know if he got one touch in the second half, and I watched that entire match. I don't even know if he touched the ball.
Yeah, that's wild.
I think he was the player actually that dug the ball out of the back of the net when Alvarez scored the free kick. I think he was the one that went and grabbed the ball. I don't think he touched the ball.
That's amazing.
All right, I'm going to take a screenshot and throw these bets here up on the screen, fellas. I've got a few. I kind of like what Matt's been talking about. It's kind of vibe, so I'm certainly going to add to this. But these are the ones I purchased, about 2 hours ago before I did my YouTube show this morning. So the lines are generally around this. I don't know. Maybe they're even better. So that's what I'm rolling, boys. Over 2.5 in Salzburg Sociedad. Over 2.5 in Antwerp Benfica. Give me the under in Dortmund Milan. Give me the under in Newcastle PSG. I'll go back to an over in Red Star Young Boys. And I like Bayern halftime, full-time with over 1.5 at minus 130.
All right, I've got 3. I'm going Man City, minus 140. Lisandro Martinez, plus 135 to score against Benfica. And I'm going to go with Copenhagen Bayern, both teams to score, yes, plus 100.
Copenhagen Bayern, both teams to score. All right, a little special Champions League edition here between the posts. We got to do more of these, Matt. It was fun getting into the Champions League and talking that up. But as for when we'll come back next, it'll be Thursday at noon. We'll jump back into our normal Premier League preview show. We'll preview, of course, the 10 games before international break with the big one. Arsenal at home at the Emirates taking on Manchester City. So look forward to breaking that one down with all the other ones. Matt, all right. Maybe we can, we'll enjoy these games. I got to get you on TikTok so you can hang out with us on live. We got great Great. We get rowdy over there on TikTok Live watching these games. So
Do I have to have a TikTok to be on it?
You have to have a TikTok to be.
I don't have a TikTok account.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, then yeah, that's a problem.
Do I have to do I have to create one in order to like be a part of the stream? Probably.
In terms of having your face and voice being heard, yeah. Otherwise, I mean, you can watch it. You don't have to have an account to watch it.
No, I mean, I'd mind to. I'd love to hop on some of them. Those are fun.
Okay. All right, guys. Enjoy match day number 2 in the Premier League, and we'll see you guys back here Thursday, where we'll be previewing this weekend the Premier League. Enjoy the games. Have a good one, fellas.